Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we're diving into something that's been making waves in the news, and honestly, it's a topic that could have a huge impact on how we think about our justice system and democracy. We're talking about the newly released portion of Special Counsel Jack Smith's report on former President Donald Trump's election interference case. Now, you might be wondering, why does this matter and what does it mean for you? Well, this is a moment that touches on fairness, accountability, and the principles we value. So let's take a closer look together. To start, here's the headline. A federal judge in Florida has allowed the release of a part of this report that dives into Trump's alleged efforts to overturn his loss in the 2020 election. This decision comes after weeks of legal battles between the Justice Department, Trump's legal team, and other parties involved. But here's where it gets really interesting. This report is essentially the Justice Department's final word on the matter, laying out the evidence and reasoning behind the case. It's not every day we get such a detailed look into something so politically and legally significant. So, what's actually in this report, and why is it controversial? Well, according to what we know so far, it outlines three main conspiracies that prosecutors say were designed to keep Trump in power after losing the election. This includes accusations of spreading false claims about election fraud, pressuring officials to overturn results, and even encouraging the events leading up to January 6th. And here's the kicker. While Trump himself won't stand trial for this case, the details in the report could still have major implications for his presidency and the broader political landscape. Now, you might be wondering, if this case is closed, why is there still so much debate? That's a great question, and it's because of a couple of key reasons. First, the release of this report is seen as a way to hold public figures accountable, even if legal consequences aren't on the table. Second, Trump's legal team has argued that the report is biased and could harm his administration by embarrassing potential appointees or allies. On top of that, the Justice Department still has an ongoing case involving two of Trump's aides, which adds another layer of complexity. Let's pause here for a moment. What does all this mean for us, the public? For one, it highlights how much transparency matters, especially when it comes to actions taken by those in power. Whether you support Trump or not, understanding the processes and decisions behind these cases helps us all be more informed citizens. And that's not just important, it's essential. Now, let's talk about what's next. The volume of the report focused on election interference is now public, but the part about classified documents is still under wraps for now. That's because Judge Cannon, the same judge who dismissed the classified documents case earlier, has decided to keep that portion sealed until a hearing later this week. The Justice Department wants to share it privately with Congress, but there's concern from Trump's co-defendants that it could be leaked, potentially impacting their right to a fair trial. It's like a legal chess match, with every move being closely watched. And here's another thing to consider. This whole situation also raises questions about the role of the Justice Department, the courts, and Congress in overseeing cases involving high-profile figures. For example, should these reports always be made public, or are there situations where keeping them private is justified? There's no easy answer, but it's a debate worth having. Now, I know this topic can feel heavy, but it's also a reminder of how interconnected our legal and political systems are with our everyday lives. These decisions aren't just about politicians or lawyers. They're about setting precedents for how future cases are handled, ensuring accountability, and maintaining trust in the institutions that govern us. Before we wrap this up, let's think about the bigger picture. Regardless of where you stand politically, this report and its release show us the importance of paying attention, asking questions, and staying informed. After all, democracy isn't just about voting. It's about being engaged, even when the headlines feel complicated or overwhelming. So, what do you think? Does releasing this report build trust? Or do you think it creates more divisions? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you found this explanation helpful, share it with someone who might want to understand the story behind the headlines. Together, we can keep the conversation going and make sense of the complex world we live in. Thanks for sticking with me today. Take care, and I'll see you next time.